Now then, let us move forward with the discussion and a deeper explanation of the oversoul idea and the soul blueprint idea, as was brought up yesterday of your time with regard to familial relations and how that keys into your soul blueprint pattern. You can look at the chart that was created that has the all that is, oversoul, and individual soul, and the four quadrants of ideas and themes that make up the concept of your soul blueprint pattern. Now, of course, yesterday we talked about the idea of the pie chart and how all of the different energies that you have brought with you on your journey from different systems, different lives, and so forth, create this pie chart that has different degrees of different vibrations making it up. Even though you all contain the same basic energies, it's in different proportions according to what you are connecting to, what you're focusing on, what serves you best in this particular lifetime. But now, you can also see that what you're bringing to bear, more specifically within all this, are things that have to do with familial, family, soul group relationships, ideas of so-called agreements that you may be making, in some senses such as we actually just examined, because the idea of the twin, where one dies and one lives, is a perfect representation of a soul agreement within a soul family. The idea being that I will ensure that you will be firmly anchored in this physical reality in the way that will serve you best for the theme that you're going to explore, by kicking you into this reality, by moving out of it myself and giving you all the momentum. That's a soul agreement between a soul family group member and another. Many different kinds of agreements are made in this way to be of service and assistance to one another, to provide for the other what the other may need to experience in that life, what it is they need to experience, so that they can best serve out their theme of choice. And it is done many different ways. But this is definitely one of the things that is included in the overall patterns, so to speak, of your soul blueprint, are these soul family agreements. And they are very personal in that sense, in that you have true familiarity with many of these other souls, individual souls, and have had many different kinds of life experiences, speaking linearly, and have played many different parts, different literal family members sometimes being each other's spouses, sometimes being children, brothers, sisters, friends, other relations, mentors, students. You have all, at this point, done it all in that context on earth. You've all played all the roles, and now you're playing the role where all the roles come together and are integrated in a manner that allows you to be of best assistance in serving the theme of being on earth in its primary transition phase, from one level of reality to another. From third density to fourth density transition. That's the general theme you're all playing out, even though obviously you have your own individual themes as part and parcel of helping in the overall transitional theme. Because each and every one of you that becomes more aware of your soul family group agreements, the themes you have chosen to experience in this life, and the more aware you become of how to allow yourself to express those things fully through following your joy and being the fullest self you possibly can be, it adds to the overall momentum and the overall energy of Earth's capability to transition in a positive and harmonious way for those that will ride that wave. So, also you can see in that chart the idea of what might be referred to as random acts. Now, this does not mean accidents. There is no such thing as an accident. But it does mean random act in the sense that you have freedom to choose. There are many probabilities that you could choose from in order to decide how to experience your theme at any given moment. And we have used the analogy of walking down a hallway to describe or illustrate the concept of living out a theme. In other words, you may decide that a certain hallway is what you will walk down in life, and that may not change and may seem in some senses like destiny, but it's very loosely described as a theme. But how you walk down that hallway is up to your free will, your freedom to choose. The idea of random probabilities that you could attract to yourself to express the idea of your theme in a number of different kinds of situations and conditions and interactions and relationships. So random acts still plays a very big part in the idea of how you play out your soul blueprint. You leave yourself open, in other words, for the possibility of doing it in any number of different ways. And that allows there to be the variety that is the spice of life, as you say. The acknowledgement of true uniqueness and difference in all of you, in living out your similar themes in a variety, such a variety of different ways that it adds to the complexity and richness of all that is in terms of all the ways it can experience itself going through even one particular kind of transitional theme. So random acts are very important to allow there to be seemingly an open-endedness to the ability and how it is you experience the idea of your soul blueprint. Again, it isn't accidental. No more so than the idea of what you call, let's say, gambling on your planet. If you spin a wheel and are looking to place money on a certain number, you understand that the way that the numbers come up may be random, but it's no accident that the wheel is spinning because you spun it. So that's a way to look at the idea of randomness and understand that it has nothing to do with the concept of accident in the sense that these two things really have no connection or have nothing to do with each other. There is no such thing. It's all an orchestration, but the orchestration may be hidden so that you can experience in the act of creation the true moment of creation and the randomness of it, the savoring of the randomness of that true moment of creation. The mechanism of creation itself is brought about by the very concept of randomness. And so you include that also in your soul blueprint, that you can express yourself in any number of ways and still accomplish the same theme. Now, in the family groups and in all the other things that are on that chart, again, it really just has to do with understanding that when you choose to experience physical reality, you do sort of crystallize yourself into a personality construct. And that personality construct acts as a translation device through which the amalgamation of all of this soul blueprint energy and energy from the source is expressed. And in expressing it through that prism of the personality, the three-sided personality of definitions and emotions and behavior, in expressing itself through that, it determines exactly what kind of a spectrum in life that you see, what kind of an experience that you have. And this takes us back to the reality generation circuit. So, again, these charts are designed, all of them are designed, as actual meditational tools so that you can focus your consciousness, focus your imagination on the configuration that is outlined in these charts. Not that it needs to be infinitely explained in every detail, but that you yourself, using your imagination when you focus on them, when you read them, when you look at their layout, when you look at their configuration, when you look at what the symbols might mean to you in terms of the meaning you have given them, they can, in a sense, be reflections to you, mirrors to you, that will put you in touch with these different aspects of your consciousness, both on the physical personality level and on the soul blueprint level and on the oversoul level and on your connection to source or whatever level you wish to look at it from. These charts, in a sense, are, shall we say, like unto mandalas in a way. They are like unto spells in a way. They are like unto arrangements or patterns or matrices of energy in a way that represent an interface between different levels of you as a person on earth and different levels on which you exist in other realms as well, other dimensions, physical and non-physical. So use them in that way. and let your imagination be your guide. This is why they have been created for you as a tool, why they have been designed for you as a tool. Anytime you find yourself feeling a little bit lost, feeling a little bit off your so-called path, use these tools. They're very strong tools. And when you allow yourself to experience them, from that moment of pause, from that moment of neutrality, in that state of being, they will be very strong and effective tools to illuminate in your imagination certain aspects that you need to look at that will be the things you need to process, the things you need to integrate to move even farther forward on your journey of self-integration, of soul growth. Does this make sense to you? All right. Now, one moment. Take a deep breath and let it out. And take another deep breath and let it out. And take another deep breath and let it out. So also then understand that oxygenation of the system is also key. And when you are in that meditative state, the deep rhythmic breathing that is often referred to as yogic breathing is also another way to energize and amplify the vibrational energy within yourself, to be more sensitized, to be more attuned to these charts, so that when you contemplate them in that state, with the meditational, relaxed, neutral state, with the deep oxygenation of the system, that in that state you will actually glean more from those charts. Your imagination will open up to more information from those mirrors, from those reflections, from those tools. Anything you can do to balance out your body consciousness, clarify, detoxify your body consciousness, will allow you to become more highly attuned and more highly receptive to any information that these tools can help inspire within your imagination. So it is very important, along with any tools that we share with you, that you allow yourself to become the best receiver you possibly can, because it's all about ability to absorb and integrate this information, not just listen to it and let it spin in orbit around your head. Not just allow yourself to be inundated with information, but to truly absorb it. And absorption on all levels is based on the ability to remove toxins, whether they be literal physical toxins or pollutants in your body, or whether they be the idea of toxic beliefs that don't allow you to believe in something you say you prefer to believe in. So the more you can clarify what your beliefs and definitions are, what your motivations are, and the more you can actually detoxify your bodies and your cellular structures, putting into them the oxygen, putting into them the water, putting into them the proper nutrients in a natural way, the more you become highly receptive to all these levels of information that are surrounding you constantly, information constantly coming to you from us, from your guides, from other spirits, from other dimensions, from cross currents in other lives, other experiences you are having right now. Make yourselves more highly receptive by clarifying yourself as best as you can on all levels. On all levels. That would be our strongest suggestion for the most efficacious use of the information we are downloading in this transmission. Because understand that there is much, much more information coming to you all than just what you are hearing coming out of the body sitting in front of you. There is energy patterns, all sorts of things coming to you. Sometimes you recognize this by suddenly finding an increase in synchronicity in your daily lives, because you are using the information in a way that you are not really immediately consciously aware of. Sometimes it will be that your dreams will become far more lucid and far more vivid. Sometimes it will simply be that you find yourself more capable of taking that pause and reflecting on exactly what is going on and what you are doing, and be more transparently aware of yourself. It may manifest in any number of ways, all this extra information that you may not at this point be consciously aware of, but it's there nevertheless, and you can become far more attuned to it with all the clarifying ideas we have just mentioned, both in terms of energy and psychology and emotionality and beliefs and motivation, but also in terms of body as well. Because remember, there really is no difference. And the idea really is not that your spirit is in your body is in your spirit in that sense. It's contained within it, supported by it. It's within the soul, within the oversoul. And the idea of leaving your body is not so much leaving your body as it is simply expanding your consciousness beyond that focus. So the body in that sense is really like unto a tube, a spyglass that you are looking through to experience the idea called physical reality. But when you back up in that sense, when you remove your eye from the eyepiece, you recognize that you're holding that telescope in your hand and that there is still a bigger reality in which the telescope exists. And that what you thought was the only reality that you saw through the eyeglass is now just a piece of a bigger reality that you are also contained within. And then when you drop that looking glass, you will recognize that you are also in a bigger reality, and another reality, and another reality. And as we have said several times, the whole idea of evolution, the whole idea really of spiritual growth, fundamentally, from the perspective that you are coming from, is really the process of actually awakening to the fact that you are the reality you previously thought you existed in. You actually are physical reality. You don't really exist in it. You actually are it. It's an experience in your consciousness. That's all it is. It isn't empirically real. It isn't empirically solid. And even the experience of physical reality itself contains clues that lets you know how ephemeral it is. Your own scientists, your own quantum physicists know how unsolid solid reality is. And they even balk at calling atoms solid particles, because in reality, they're not. They're just ideas. Wave forms, they may say, but waveform is really just an idea. But your reality is made up of ideas. The ideas you have of yourselves, the ideas you have of others, the ideas you have of reality. It's just ideas. That's all it is. But what a fantastic idea it has been. And now it's going to be a different idea. Just as fantastic, but different. And that's what you're creating now, really, is a new idea of yourself, and therefore a new idea of what reality experience is all about. Does that make sense to you all? What is the time frame remaining for this part of the transmission? All right. Within this remaining time frame for this segment, are there now more questions or discussions with regard to the new diagram, any aspect of it, and anything we have said that requires clarification or further discussion? All right. Then abide by whatever procedure you have agreed to.
Good morning, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Very frustrating issue going on.
A very frustrating issue. All right. Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
I felt driven since the age of 12.
Oh, more driving. All right.
Surrendered 11 years ago.
Yes.
Surrender almost daily.
Yes.
Through meditation.
Yes.
However, it feels so frustrating because every time I feel closer to the source,
Yes.
it moves further away.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Absolutely. How else are you going to grow?
That's what I'm coming to. Every time I feel I've learned something,
Yes.
I immediately recognize that I've got so much more to learn.
Yes.
The more knowingness I have,
Yes.
the more I feel ignorant.
Yes.
And it is exactly, as an analogy, a magnet game.
Yes.
The satisfaction of knowingness, the satisfaction of enlightenment
Yes.
lasts for such a small moment. And to be honest with you, Bashar, I'm very jealous.
Oh, all right.
I want to have the answers you have.
But you do.
I want the knowingness.
do.
I want the knowingness. I want
You
to
do.
live in knowingness
You
every
do.
moment. I don't.
Nothing is stopping you but your idea about yourself. And the way you think you're going about it, or you think you need to go about it. Nothing is stopping you from having the same access to all the same information, the same degree of ideas of knowingness. But I want to let you in on a very little secret. All the knowingness that you ascribe to us, from our point of view, is barely anything. Most of our knowingness comes from the fact that we know we don't know so very much more.
Exactly.
Therefore, in the idea that you've already described, you have in fact achieved the same kind of knowingness that we have.
But what is the point of playing a game if no one wins? You said earlier on...
What is the point of playing the game if no one wins?
Yes.
Why is it not winning enough to just play the game? Why isn't that a win that you are even allowed to play the game? That you even exist to be able to have the experience? Why isn't that enough of a win? Why haven't you already won, in other words?
I want to feel winning to the point where the light does not keep moving further and further away.
But that will never happen.
Why?
Because it's infinite. How can you have an end to it when it's infinite? There is no end to the game. If you actually want the game to end, the way you experience the idea of the possibility that there's an end to the game is by doing exactly what you have done. In other words, you've chosen to be a part of a physical reality where you could actually forget that the game is infinite. And thus you have made it seem as if the game could possibly have an end. But now, in playing that game, you have reversed the idea and allowed yourself to begin to remember that the game actually doesn't end. And so the only way for you to once again feel that it could end, that there might be an ending that you would arrive at, thus having won, is to once again forget that there's no such thing as an end. But you don't want to forget that now. You have got yourself completely in the center of the game of paradox. Which game do you really want to play? The one that goes on forever and is always eternally delightful and full of surprises without end? Or the one where you have forgotten and are in the darkness again playing that game? Which do you prefer?
The first, of course.
Well then.
But it leads me to the next
Yes.
challenge.
Which is?
In context of what you just explained,
Yes.
I can never really assert who I am.
Why not?
Because I'm always changing.
Yes, that's who you are. The idea of who you are is just becoming bigger, that's all. It's no longer defined in the limited way it used to be. And that's why you're uncertain of exactly right now who you are. But you'll get it. You'll understand that you're bigger, and that the idea that you're always changing is in fact who you are. You are change itself. It's one of the laws of existence. You see, the whole idea, if you wish me to put it in euphemistic terms of something that is quote unquote achievable as a win, is the recognition that ultimately what you actually are is all that is. Now, the paradox is that when you fully realize you are all that is, it will simultaneously feel like. You are moving at infinite speed forever and standing perfectly still. So in that sense, you can find that there is the possibility of creating what you would call a sense of accomplishment, but that doesn't actually mean that anything is really ended, because there's always something beyond that. Your curiosity will never die. And even if you create for yourself the experience of having won the game, arrived at the end, caught up to the light, you will then, at that moment of triumph, want something more, and there it will be. Because you are all that is, and what you say goes. So it's just a matter of what level of it you want to be aware of for whatever game is more exciting for you to play. For a while, it was exciting to think you could actually catch up to the light and be a winner. Now you're in that transitional stage where you understand that what you really want to do is understand you're already a winner just because you're playing a game that goes on forever. And oh, how exciting that is, because the fun will never end. So you're just right now kind of caught between the two ideas. And the fact that you now perceive that everything always changes is exactly the biggest clue that you need to understand who you actually are. You are change itself. All of you, all of us, we are change itself. Because that's the act of creation. And if you want to catch up to the light, recognize that you are the light. And it's always with you. That's when you catch up to it. But simultaneously will recognize you can also chase it forever. Remember, in this day and age on your planet, in this process you're going through, the realization that you're ultimately really having is it's no longer this or that, it's this and that. Both are true. What appear to be absolute opposites are both true as anything. That all ideas are true, all perspectives are true, all reality experiences are true because they're all a part of all that is. Experience it however you wish. Does that make sense to you?
It does, thank you.
Is this helping at all?
Very much. Small question.
Small question, all right.
Do animals know this better than we do?
They don't allow themselves to get so much in their way, yes. They instinctively understand this a little bit more clearly than most humans do.
Thank you.
Does that help you?
Very much, thank you.
One moment. One moment. Don't go anywhere. What animal do you identify with most strongly if you do?
Dogs.
Why?
They understand us. They have a capacity to love unconditionally.
I see. And you think that that's a good lesson to learn, yes?
Of course.
All right. Then why not love the game the way it is, unconditionally? Unconditionally. Because true unconditionality does not mean I love it unconditionally except for this one condition.
In other words, I have more surrendering to do.
You have less conditioning to do, which might be the same thing. Yes. So take a cue from the dog so you will make sure you're not barking up the wrong tree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. Okay, my question is, you talk about doing as...
Yes. I do, don't I?
Yes, you do. And it made me